What's up? Welcome back to Bumblebee. We're gonna learn some history, some horrible, nasty, disgusting history with your not horrible, nasty host. Let's do it. Let's have some fun today. Here are the top 10 disturbing moments in history that you wish you could forget. Yeah, we'll do this nice and fun. Why not? Number 10, post-Titanic ship safety. On the night of April 14th, 1912, the RMS Titanic, a luxurious British passenger liner, of course we know the story, it struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean during its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City, and despite warnings of icebergs in the area, the ship's crew failed to change course or slow down in time. Now the rest we've seen in IMAX thanks to James Cameron releasing it once every 3 years. Now, after this fateful voyage, in real life, regulations had to change. No captain wanted a repeat on their vessel. Now, unlike the Titanic, the Eastland disaster was due to a different issue entirely. Now, the ship was top-heavy with lifeboats and life-saving equipment, which in turn caused instability. Now, as passengers crowded the upper decks, the ship began to lean to one side and then ultimately enrolled entirely onto its side. Tragically, 844 people lost their lives in this disaster. Even though they tried to stack it with lifeboats to avoid the Titanic, they still had their own, dare I say, unique tragedy. Number 9, New England Christmas ban. Being this close to Halloween, it feels illegal to talk about Christmas already, right? Also, if you're Team Halloween, you're gonna love this next one. In the early 17th century, settlers in New England, specifically the Massachusetts Bay Colony, they banned the celebration of Christmas entirely. Yeah, what in the Scrooged was happening? Well, back then, they viewed Christmas as a pagan and overtly extravagant holiday, not rooted yet in Christian beliefs. Now, the ban was enforced from 1659 to 1681. That's a long time. And if you're thinking about having a secret Santa, well, you better think twice. If caught engaging in Christmas festivities, you would be fined. Yeah, it's the opposite of Christmas. You'd be handed not money, a fine. There you go. Happy holidays. That sucks. Christmas was only reinstated as a holiday after 1681's repeal, but it took time to regain popularity in the region, of course, with religious tensions and opposition lingering for years to follow. Number 8, Monopoly and the Great Depression. I don't know about you guys, but I love Monopoly. I treat it with respect, I take it nice and slow, I roll one die at a time. Pisses everyone else off, that's how I do it, I don't care. I don't care if a game lasts 5 hours, I'm committed, okay? We're doing this. Monopoly was created by Charles Darrow during the Great Depression. Now, it gained popularity due to its escapism and affordability. Now, with people struggling financially in the real world, the game offered a chance to engage in this fictional real estate transactions, gaining wealth and competing with each other without, real life sad consequences. Yeah, the Great Depression was so bad, they played Monopoly to cheer up. Says a lot right there. In 1935, Parker Brothers published the game, making it widely accessible and successful. And today it's not as fun. Today we don't take it for granted. We're like, no, this is boring. I don't want to be in debt. Put that one away. What about guess who? Number 7, Albert Einstein's brain. When people say the phrase, "I'd like to pick your brain," they usually don't mean it in a literal sense, because that would be disgusting. After Albert Einstein's death in 1955, pathologist Dr. Thomas Stoltz Harvey, he was the one who conducted an autopsy. Now, during this autopsy, he removed Einstein's brain for examination without the family's permission. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't just sneak your brain in your lab coat and head home. Harvey's aim here was to study the brain's anatomy, hoping to find clues to Einstein's extraordinary intellectual abilities. He's like, yes, there's a chip. I knew it, it's an A13 chip right there in his brain. The unauthorized removal and retention of Einstein's brain, of course, is not okay at all. This was widely controversial, but eventually in 1978, Harvey returned the brain to Princeton Hospital, where it was kept until 1998 for further scientific study. He just returned a brain. He's like, sorry, I don't know. I couldn't find it. Maybe you guys can find something. It stinks. This incident sparked ethical debates regarding the handling of famous individuals' remains for research purposes. You can't just steal brains, Harvey. Let's move on. Number 6, ancient Egyptian healthcare. Most people assume that ancient Egyptians used slaves to build those remarkable pyramids, but many historians today all agree that the builders were paid laborers. Evidence also suggests that these workers each had the first ever documented healthcare plan. How amazing is that? In addition to their pay, they each got paid sick days since they spent weeks away from home. And also they had access to an early form of a walk-in clinic for checkups. They had their own office? That's crazy. While the commute to work and the construction they faced was immeasurably brutal, they were treated well and received fair treatment. You don't have dental, but the ancient Egyptians who built the pyramids did. Tell that to your boss on Monday. Here you go, here's a pitch. Number 5, a situation. During World War II, the German submarine U-1206 experienced a unique incident, if you can call it that. A rather situation. Like I said earlier, here we go. On April 14th, 1945, while submerged off the Scottish coast, a crew member mistakenly flushed a toilet without following proper instructions. Which sounds kind of funny, but this caused a malfunction in the submarine's high-pressure toilet system, which actually led to seawater flooding the compartment. So in an effort to prevent further damage, the captain ordered the submarine to surface. Now, unfortunately, during the surfacing process, U-1206 was discovered and attacked by aircraft, forcing the crew to scuttle the submarine. Have you ever clogged a toilet at a friend's house? Has it ever been this bad before? Comment down below your clogging experience. This toilet appears to have been clogged a few times the last month. I don't know, somebody in our office here has been taking some pretty crazy dumps. I'll have to talk to HR about that. Number 4, the longest war. The 335 years war. That is a very long time to be pissed off for. What happened? What's going on here, guys? Settle it. Between the Netherlands and the Isles of Sicily remains one of the longest wars in history, but it was largely forgotten by both sides. How weird is that? It began in 1651 when the Isles of Sicily, off the southwest coast of England, they declared war on the Netherlands by mistake. Yeah, the war persisted due to an oversight, and it was never officially ended. Wasn't terminated, so it just kept going for years and years. Now it finally did come to an end in 1986, so recent, when a historian uncovered the error and the Dutch ambassador humorously signed a peace treaty, effectively concluding the centuries-long conflict without a single shot fired. Number 3, made of glass. I'm made of sugar, but maybe not made of glass. I don't know if I'm gonna take it that far. King Charles VI of France, he's known for his glass delusion, and this occurred in 1392 when he believed that his entire body was somehow made of glass and could shatter easily. That's a terrifying way to live. This mental condition caused him to fear physical contact, and it led to some odd behaviors. For example, to protect himself, he wore reinforced clothing, and he avoided situations where he might break. His girlfriend's like, can we just talk? He's like, babe, I'm gonna shatter. Seriously, I can't right now. I'm gonna shatter. That's gotta be tough. Nobody knows the underlying situation on what's going on in here. It's stressful for everybody involved. But it's definitely especially stressful for the man who thinks that he might shatter at any given moment. That's for sure, he's having the worst go. Thumbs up for medical knowledge today. We love that. How far we've come. Love that. Number 2, the field of the cloth of gold. Waste your money, but make it extravagant and historical. In 1520, King Henry VIII of England, he hosted a lavish birthday celebration for himself and a diplomatic summit with King Francis I of France. This was known as the Field of the Cloth of Gold. A lot of ofs in there, almost like one of too many. The event took place in Calais, France, and included elaborate feasts, jousting tournaments, and displays of wealth and power by both monarchs. Now, the summit aimed to strengthen the alliance between England and France, but ultimately it did little to resolve this long-standing conflict. The Field of the Cloth of Gold is remembered as one of the most extravagant events of the Renaissance period, with each monarch trying to one-up the other the entire time. One would spend a little, the other would spend a lot, the other would spend a lot more. Before you know it, everyone's broke. This was a terrible idea. Can we go home now, please? It was a lavish cook-off for 18 days. Now today, this 18-day party would cost $19 million. And again, nothing was resolved whatsoever. At the end of it, they went, all right, we'll do this again next time. Cheers. Finally, number 1, human alarm clocks. We'll end with one of the worst, weirdest jobs I could ever imagine. This sucks for the guy who has the job, and then also the person who needs him for the job. Know what I mean? Let's talk about it. Knocker-uppers, or knocker-ups, however you want to call them. It's funny in either way. They single-handedly provided a unique wake-up service during the Victorian era. Before alarm clocks, right? Someone had to do something. Before the widespread availability of alarm clocks, especially among the working class, everybody who had places to be, well, a knocker-upper ideally would have your back. and it was hilarious and terrifying. What they would do is they would use a long stick or a long pole, and they would smack your bedroom window or your bedroom door as loud and as hard as they could to ideally wake you up, so now you can make it on time to go to work. These individuals were typically paid a small fee for their service, although I don't know, their arms, they're gonna be ripped like a gorilla. Those traps at the end of that shift, are you kidding me? With the rise of affordable alarm clocks, the need for knocker-ups gradually diminished, leading to the decline of this occupation, which, I don't know, should we bring this job back? There's a couple jobs we can leave. Chimney sweeps? Nah, we don't need that. Knocker-ups? Guys smacking your window all day? I'd love that. Imagine that right now in that window, Chris. I'd have a heart attack, but I'd be like, thank you. Here's your small pay for your service, sir. Those are the top 10 disturbing moments in history you wish you could forget, but you won't forget because I just told you and you listened and you gave it a thumbs up, so it's gonna be in there forever. I'm your host, Taylor McWaters. You're you. Love the new jeans, by the way. Really suits you. Have a good day. See ya.